And there happened to be there a rebel whose name was Sheba, the son of Bichri, a Benjamite. And he blew a trumpet and said,
We have no share in David, nor do we have inheritance in the son of Jesse. Every man to his tents, O Israel.
So every man of Israel deserted David. And
Okay, we need to go back a little bit, because that's going to lead right. It's like sort of picking up right after, right? So let me just read the last section of chapter 19. So all the men of Judah answered to the men of Israel, because the king is a close relative of ours. Why then are you angry over this matter? Have we ever eaten of the king's expense, or has he given us any gifts? And the men of Israel answered the men of Judah and said, We have 10 shares in the king. Therefore we also have more right to David than you. Why then do you despise us? Were we not the first to advise bringing back our king? Yet the words of the men of Judah were fiercer than the words of the men of Israel. Right? So that division between Judah and Israel is continuing on, right? So let's head on from
and
there.
there happened to be there a rebel whose name was Sheba, the son of Bichri, a Benjamite. And he blew a trumpet and said,
We have no share in David, nor do we have inheritance in the son of Jesse. Every man to his tents, O Israel.
So every man of Israel deserted David and followed Sheba, the son of Bichri.
Dang.
But the men of Judah, from the Jordan as far as Jerusalem, remained loyal to their king. Now David came to his house at Jerusalem, and the king took the 10 women.
That's kind of insane, because we just read, right? And the men of Israel answered the men of Judah and said, We have 10 shares in the king. Therefore we have more right to David than you. And then boom, they switch it up like that. This guy Sheba says, We have no share in David, nor do we have inheritance in the son of Jesse. Every man to his tents, O Israel. So every man of Israel deserted David, right? So even if they don't have any share to David, that means your loyalty to the king is gone. That's all it took for the loyalty to just be like, okay, yeah, we're giving up on you, David. Like, what?
His concubines, loyal to their king. Now David came to his house at Jerusalem, and the king took the 10 women, his concubines, whom he had left to keep the house, and put them in seclusion, and supported them, but did not go into them.
Because Absalom had went into them, right? So now Absalom just messed up everything.
And supported them, but did not go into them. So they were shut up to the day of their death, living in widowhood.
Dang.
And the king said to Amasa,
Assemble the men of Judah for me within 3 days, and be present here yourself.
So Amasa went to assemble the men of Judah. But he delayed longer than the set time which David had appointed him.
It's interesting how they refer to David sometimes as the king and then sometimes as David. I wonder who, we know it's either Nathan or one other guy who wrote, well, that's what's speculated, who wrote 2 Samuel. So, but that's interesting that they chose to call him the king sometimes and then David in other times. I guess calling him, if he has multiple names, like how you call Jesus, right? Multiple names. I would just to add some variation to the text, but the idea of calling somebody the king, right? Usually that indicates, first of all, you're a king, showing respect by calling them by your title, right? But in a lot of these cultures, I don't know if I don't think they had this problem, because we've heard Joab calling David, speaking to David pretty directly, but essentially that you call them the king and you don't really say their name out of respect, right? You don't call them by their first name. You just refer to them by their title and not the first name, right? Because you're not on first name basis with the king. But in this case, I think just because they're writing about the king, about David, they're using the phrase king and David as well. Or either that, or they're not so strict. They're not so conscious about respect. Don't use the name, right? This is the king. Stuff like that.
Men of Judah. But he delayed longer than the set time which David had appointed him. And David said to Abishai,
Now Sheba, the son of Bichri, will do us more harm than Absalom. Take your lord's servants and pursue him, lest he find for himself fortified cities and escape us.
So Joab's men,
Sheba just cost you the
with
rest of Israel.
Cherokites, the Pelethites, and all the mighty men went out after him.
The Cherothites and the Pelethites and all the mighty men. Who are these guys? What is this? 27. Doesn't say. I'm looking at the commentary in my Bible. Okay, let's just look it up. I'm curious. Who are the Cherotites and the Pelethites? Cherotites, in the Bible, the Cherotites and the Pelethites, the former, also called Cherothites, are two ethnic groups in the Levant. Their identity has not been determined with certainty. Let's see what this... The Cherothites are mentioned 10 times in the Old Testament. Okay. There were people from the surrounding lands who were loyal to David, and he had squads of soldiers and mercenaries who appeared to have been organized by nationality. For instance, 15:18 of 2 Samuel tells us, all the servants passed by him, and all the Cherethites and all the Pelethites and all the 600 Gittites who had followed him from Gath passed on before the king. So the Cherethites were a defined group within or closely associated with the Philistines. Oh, what made them think that? The Old Testament does not intend to say that all of the Cherethites were loyal to David, but that there were some Cherethites who were loyal to him. Could it be from the time that he spent in Philistine lands, sort of conning the king there? Beyond that, the Old Testament simply does not give any more information on the Cherethites. Okay, so we don't have much to work on. All right. I think Gath is is Philistine land, and so that's why they could say it's closely associated with the Philistines.
The Pelethites, and all the mighty men went out after him. They went out of Jerusalem to pursue Sheba the son of Bichri. When they were at the large stone, which...
Man, Sheba better be scared, right? You saw what happened with Absalom. He got 3 spears to the chest, and that was David's men did that, knowing that it's David's son. Sheba, you have no connection to David, so you better be scared.
At the large stone.
There's no reason to not kill you.
In Gibeon, a mesa came before them. Now Joab was dressed in battle armor. On it was a belt, with a sword fastened in its sheath at his hips. And as he was going forward, it fell out.
Uh-oh.
Then Joab said to Amasa,
Are you in health, my brother?
And Joab took Amasa by the beard with his right hand to kiss him. But Amasa did not notice the sword that was in Joab's hand, and he struck him with it in the stomach, and his entrails poured out on the ground, and he did not strike him again. Thus he died.
What?
Then Joab and Abishai his brother pursued.
Why did he do that? Let's look what this Bible's got to say. Are you in health, my brother? The term translated health is the Hebrew word shalom, meaning peace. Brother is not just a formality here. Joab and Amasa were cousins, sons of 2 of David's sisters. So Joab took Amasa by the beard. This friendly greeting A preliminary to a kiss was now a preparation for killing him. The bloody spectacle of Amasa lying on the road caused the soldiers... Oh, we didn't get there yet. But why did he kill? Oh, let's look that up. Why did Joab kill Amasa? What are the reasons why Joab killed Amasa in the Bible? Joab had spoken pretty bluntly to David while he was mourning Absalom. Not unjustifiably granted, but pretty strongly to the king. Is this? It's telling that David asks Abishai, not Joab, to press more quickly than Amasa was doing. Some think it's a mistake, but it might well be a demonstration of disfavor of Joab for a moment. Keep in mind that Joab's mother, Zeruiah, is David's aunt. Joab / Abishai and David are cousins. Okay, that makes sense why we saw Joab speaking to David so casually and just directly. Joab already assassinated Abner back in the day. Yeah, we just talked about that. 3 spears to the chest. He's not beyond underhanded behavior. The previous answers, quotations, are trying to make Joab look good, better, understandable. That's possible. We're not given any explicit motivations. But considering 1 Kings 2:5, it's hard to give Joab any outs here. Put simply, Amasa is a threat to Joab's place of prestige at the head of the army. He has his opportunity to reassert himself. He is not above murder. And so he kills Amasa as he had killed Abner beforehand in his attempt to maintain power and prestige in the kingdom. David saw it. David made sure Solomon did not leave it unpunished. Okay, let's read this another guy's, what he thinks also. Joab killed Amasa because Amasa was their enemy and was creating circumstances which threatened the survival of David and others who supported David, including Joab. Amasa was the leader of Absalom's army and hunted down his own relatives and David's supporters in order to murder them. So Amasa was their enemy. The battle ended with the defeat of Absalom, with Amasa as their leader of Absalom's army. After the we can keep going. After the battle, David replaces Joab with Amasa, the nephew of David and the cousin of Joab, Abishai, as the commander, which also confirmed Joab's words that David loved those who hated him and hated those who loved him. 2 Samuel 20 clearly points out the suspicious activity of Amasa when Sheba, the son of Bichri, a Benjamite, who is becoming a bigger threat than Absalom. Joab kills Amasa only after this. Then the king said to Amasa, "Call the men of Judah together to me within 3 days, and be here yourself." So Amasa went to summon Judah, but he delayed beyond the set time that he had appointed him. And David said to Abishai, "Now Sheba, the son of Bichri, will do us more harm than Absalom." And then Joab killed Absalom, so why not? "Take your Lord's servants and pursue him, lest he get himself to fortified cities and escape from us." And there went out after him Joab's men and the Cherothites and the Pelethites and all the mighty men. They went out of Jerusalem to pursue Sheba, the son of Bichri. We're getting into what we're reading now. All right. And then he is talking about, all right, it's just the verse. All right. So that's it. Makes sense to me. Let me know what you guys think.
He did not strike him again. Thus he died. Then Joab and Abishai his brother pursued Sheba the son of Bichri. Meanwhile, one of Joab's men stood near Amasa and said,
"Whoever favors Joab and whoever is for David, follow Joab.
But Amasa wallowed in his blood in the middle of the highway. And when the man saw that all the people stood still, he moved Amasa from the highway to the field, and threw a garment over him, when he saw that everyone who came upon him halted. When he was removed from the highway, all the people went on after Joab to pursue Sheba the son of Bichri. And he went through all the tribes of Israel to Abel and Beth-maachah, and all the Berites.
I'm assuming this was not really to help Amasa, but more so to cover up the fact that he actually was bleeding, right? But Amasa wallowed in his blood in the middle of the highway. And when the man saw, who's the man? The man is one of Joab's men. And when the man saw that all the people stood still, he moved Amasa from the highway to the field and threw a garment over him. Right? When he saw that the people stood still, weren't moving, more likelihood to see what just happened. When he saw that everyone who had come upon him halted. When he was removed from the highway after the people went on after Joab to pursue Sheba the son of Bichri. All right, so I'm guessing that's the reason why that took place.
So they were gathered together and also went after Sheba. Then they came and besieged him in Abel of Beth-maachah. And they cast up a siege mound against the city, and it stood by the rampart. And all the people who were with Joab battered the wall to throw it down. Then a wise woman cried out from the city,
"Here,
is it the same
here,
wise woman?
Please say to Joab, 'Come nearby that I may speak with you.'"
When he had come near to her, the woman said,
"Are you Joab?
I am.
Hear the words of your maidservant."
I am listening.
They used to talk in former times, saying, "They shall surely seek guidance at Abel, and so they would end disputes." I am among the peaceable and faithful in Israel. You seek to destroy
We had
a
a chat.
city.
We had a chat. I didn't see. Hey, Dylan, how's it going?
I am among the peaceable and faithful in Israel. You seek to destroy a city and a mother in Israel. Why would you swallow up the inheritance of the Lord?
Far be it from me that I should swallow up or destroy. That is not so. But a man from the mountains of Ephraim, Sheba, the son of Bichri by name, has raised his hand against the king, against David. Deliver him only, and I will depart from the city.
Watch. His head will be thrown to you over the wall.
Then the woman, in her wisdom, went to all the people. And they cut off the head of Sheba, the son of Bichri, and threw it out to Joab. Then he blew a
Man,
trumpet.
we warned you, man. We warned you.
And they withdrew from the city, every man to his tent. So Joab returned to the king at Jerusalem. And Joab was over all the army of Israel. Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, was over the Cherothites and the Pelethites. Adoram was in charge of revenue. Jehoshaphat, the son of Ahilud, was recorder. Sheva was scribe. Zadok and Abiathar were the priests. And Ira, the Jairite, was a chief minister under David.
Okay. That's cool. We got that little bit of some organization in the court. All right. The King's Council, right?
Now there was a famine in the days of David for 3 years, year after year.
Oh, shoot.
And David inquired of the Lord, and the Lord answered,
"It is because of Saul and his bloodthirsty house, because he killed the Gibeonites."
Oh,
So
man.
the king called the Gibeonites and spoke to them.
But it's happening under David's reign, so people are going to think like People are not going to associate it with Saul. People are going to associate it with David.
Gibeonites, and spoke to them. Now the Gibeonites were not of the children of Israel, but of the remnant of the Amorites. The children of Israel had sworn protection to them, but Saul had sought to kill them in his zeal for the children of Israel and Judah. Therefore David said to the Gibeonites,
What shall I do for you? And with what shall I make atonement, that you may bless the inheritance of the Lord?
We will have no silver or gold from Saul or from his house. Nor shall you kill any man in Israel for us.
Whatever you say, I will do for you.
As for the man who consumed us and plotted against us, that we should be destroyed from remaining in any of the territories of Israel, let 7 men of his descendants be delivered to us, and we will hang them before the Lord in Gibeah of Saul, whom the Lord chose.
I will give them.
But the king spared Mephibosheth, the son of Jonathan.
Yeah, that's going against your promise. Where is it? We will have no silver or gold from Saul or from his house, nor shall you kill any man in Israel for us. And so he said, whatever you say, I will do for you. Then they answered the king, as the man who consumed us and plotted against us, that we should be destroyed from remaining in any of the territories of Israel, let 7 men of his descendants be delivered to us, 7 descendants of Saul. And we will hang them before the Lord in Gibeah of Saul, whom the Lord chose. But David really can't. David promised Saul and Jonathan, but he spared Jonathan's son because of the Lord's oath that was between them. But he promised Saul also. So.
But the king spared Mephibosheth, the son of Jonathan, the son of Saul, because of the Lord's oath that was between them, between David and Jonathan, the son of Saul. So the king took Armoni and Mephibosheth, the 2 sons of Rizpah, the daughter of Ajah, whom she bore to Saul, and the 5 sons of Michal, the daughter of Saul, whom she brought up for Adriel, the son of Barzillai, the Meholethite. And he delivered them into the hands of the Gibeonites, and they hanged them on the hill before the Lord. So they fell, all 7 together, and were put to death in the days of harvest, in the first days, in the beginning of barley harvest.
Whoops, sorry about that.
Rizpah, the daughter of Ajah, took in the days of harvest Meholethite, and he delivered them into the hands of the Gibeonites, and they hanged them on the hill before the Lord. So they fell, all 7 together, and were put to death in the days of harvest, in the first days, in the beginning of barley harvest. Now Rizpah, the daughter of Ajah, took sackcloth, and spread it for herself on the rock, from the beginning of harvest until the late rains poured on them from heaven. And she did not allow the birds of the air to rest on them by day, nor the beasts of the field by night. And David was told what Rizpah, the daughter of Ajah, the concubine of Saul, had done. Then David went and took the bones of Saul and the bones of Jonathan his son from the men of Jabesh-Gilead, who had stolen them from the street of Bethshan, where the Philistines had hung them up, after the Philistines had struck down Saul in Gilboa. So he brought up the bones of Saul and the bones of Jonathan his son from there, and they gathered the bones of those who had been hanged. They buried the bones of Saul and Jonathan his son in the country of Benjamin in Zelah, in the tomb of Kish his father. So they performed all that the king commanded. And after that God heeded the prayer for the land. When the Philistines were at war again with Israel, David and his servants with him went down and fought against the Philistines. And David grew faint. Then Ishbi-Benob, who was one of the sons of the giant, the weight of whose bronze spear was 300 shekels, who was bearing a new sword, thought he could kill David. But Abishai...
Wait, we're getting David versus Goliath, and now David's fighting other giants? I didn't know this. Okay, 300 shekels. Because shekels is based off weight, right? Shekel. Shekels, right? Is a unit of weight. Right? Weight conversion. Convert shekel, biblical Hebrew. 300. 7 pounds. What is the average weight? Average weight of a sword. I mean, there's so many different styles of swords, right? So what am I looking for? A Greek sword, 1.5 pounds. Viking era, 4.46. A heavy sword would be 7.5. Okay, and this was 7.5. Let's look up to what a long sword, because long swords are decently long, 3 pounds. Let's look what this looks like. This looks like a great sword. This thing is massive. Right? Because this is so big, they'd use this to, I believe, they would hold that with their arm, right? And they could rest it on their shoulder because it's so massive. Like, look at that. Look at that thing. And these are not, I mean, see, so, and I'm assuming this sword is supposed to be the, like a standard sword for one of these giants, right? It's not like, I mean, that's like obviously crazy, you know? It's not supposed to be some crazy huge sword. It's just that it's just that the guy was big. So, he must be pretty tall.
The weight of whose bronze spear was 300 shekels, who was bearing a new sword.
Time out. Did you say bronze spear was 300 shekels? Yeah, the bronze spear was 300 shekels. Okay, sorry, my bad about that. Let's check out spear weight. How much should a spear weigh? About 3 pounds. Okay, even still. Goliath's spear. Oh, we had the measurements of Goliath's spear. 33 pounds. I don't remember that. The spear head weighed 600 shekels. Is that what it said? 17.7? New King James Version. 600 shekels was a spearhead. Yo! £15 spearhead? Wow. The spearhead is 15 pounds. So imagine how big the staff had to have been. $12 long. Okay, if that's 12 feet, and he's probably about 10 feet tall, that works. That's crazy. And this guy has a 300-pound head. Or the spear was 300 shekels. And Goliath's was 600 shekels just for the head. The iron point weighed 600 shekels. So this guy seems to be smaller than Goliath.
of whose bronze spear was 300 shekels, who was bearing a new sword, thought he could kill David. But
David's got Goliath's sword with him, so
Abishai, the son of Zeruiah, came to his aid and struck the Philistine and killed him. Then the men of David swore to him,
"You shall go out no more with us to battle, lest you quench the lamp of Israel."
Now it happened afterward that there was again a battle with the Philistines at Gob. Then Sibbecai the Hushathite killed Saph, who was one of the sons of the giant. Again there was war at Gob with the Philistines,
yeah, followed
where
war against the
Elhanan,
giants.
the son of Jeri-Oregim, the Bethlehemite, killed the brother of Goliath, the Gittite, the shaft of whose spear was like a weaver's beam.
The shaft of whose spear was like a weaver's beam. What is a weaver's beam? Oh, is that where the I can't even begin to even pretend what I know what this is. Okay, so I'm assuming one of these things is the weaver's beam. I don't know. I got no clue. Let me know if you guys know down in the comment section what a weaver's beam is. I'm guessing would have to be pretty thick. Standard cloth width is 5 to 6 feet. Weaver's rod to be 6 to 8 feet long. Dang, no way. No way. This guy's spear had to have been longer than 6 feet. Because he's a giant, and usually spears are taller than the person. So, I don't know. We don't have exact measurements, so we're just speculating anyways.
The shaft of whose spear was like a weaver's beam. Yet again there was war at Gath, where there was a man of great stature who had 6 fingers on each hand and 6 toes on each foot, 24 in number. And he also was born to the giant. So when he defied Israel, Jonathan, the son of Shimeah, David's brother, killed him. These 4 were born to...
Okay, see, that could be a question that was posed. Are these giants... Are they giants because there's some type of defect with them? You know, like they have some sort of disorder. I think like a Yao Ming type of thing, right? Yao Ming has... Isn't there like a disease or like a disorder that you're born with that you can't stop growing? Your bones don't stop growing, right? And I don't know. I'm just... Or, again, you could go all the way back to like these people are like survivors of Genesis 6, right? The cross between, I don't know if you believe in it, the cross between the fallen angels and men creating the Nephilim giants, right? I don't know. Again, like I said, we can look into that at a later date.
Jonathan, the son of Shimeah, David's brother, killed him. These 4 were born to the giant in Gath, and fell by the hand of David and by the hand of his servants.
Oh, that's it? That's it? Oh, wait, no, 22. We just finished 21. I was like, that was pretty fast.
Then David spoke to the Lord the words of this song, on the day when the Lord had delivered him from the hand of all his enemies and from the hand of Saul.
The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, the God of my strength, in whom I will trust, my shield and the horn of my salvation, my stronghold and my refuge, my Savior. You save me from violence. I will call upon the Lord, who is worthy to be praised. So shall I be saved from my enemies when the waves of death surrounded me. The floods of ungodliness made me afraid. The sorrows of Sheol surrounded me. The snares of death confronted me.
And if you guys don't know what Sheol is, we talked about it in Genesis during creation, right? Hebrew cosmology. Let's go to large. Right? Sheol would be another word for Hades. The underworld. Right? That's what it would be.
In my distress, I called upon the Lord and cried out.
I'm curious, what did they believe? Did they believe when you die, you go there? Or what? I guess we can look into that later. That is really interesting. Right? Because Christians, I don't believe that. I believe when you die, you're dead. And then when Jesus comes again, you're resurrected and you go to heaven. Or, you don't. You go, yeah, I'm curious to know, because even Jesus referenced it, right? Yeah, we can look into that later.
Snares of death confronted me. In my distress, I called upon the Lord and cried out to my God. He heard my voice from his temple, and my cry entered his ears. Then the earth shook and trembled. The foundations of heaven quaked and were shaken because he was angry. Smoke went up from his nostrils and devouring fire from his mouth. Coals were kindled by it. He bowed the heavens also and came down with darkness under his feet. He rode upon a cherub and flew. And he was seen upon the wings of the wind. He made darkness canopies around him, dark waters and thick clouds of the skies. From the brightness before him, coals of fire were kindled. The Lord thundered from heaven, and the Most High
is he describing
uttered
a
his
dream
voice.
he had?
He sent out arrows and scattered them, lightning bolts, and he vanquished them. Then the channels of the sea were seen, the foundations of the world were uncovered. At the rebuke of the Lord, at the blast of the breath of his nostrils, he sent from above. He took me. He drew me out of many waters. He delivered me from my strong enemy, from those who hated me, for they were too strong for me. They confronted me in the day of my calamity, but the Lord was my support. He also brought me out into a broad place. He delivered me because he delighted in me. The Lord rewarded me according to my righteousness. According to the cleanness of my hands, he has recompensed me. For I have kept the ways of the Lord, and have not wickedly departed from my God.
Uriah
For
would beg
all
to
his
differ.
judgments were before me. And as for
He
his
asked forgiveness and
statutes,
didn't do it again. So
I
mean, David's heart
did
is in the right
not
place, though.
depart from them. I was also blameless before him, and I kept myself from my iniquity. Therefore the Lord has recompensed me according to my righteousness, according to my cleanness in his eyes. With the merciful you will show yourself merciful. With a blameless man you will show yourself blameless. With the pure you will show yourself pure. And with the devious you will show yourself shrewd. You will save the humble people, but your eyes are on the haughty, that you may bring them down. For you are my lamp, O Lord. The Lord shall enlighten my darkness. For by you I can run against a troop. By my God I can leap over a wall. As for God, his way is perfect. The word of the Lord is proven. He is a shield to all who trust in him. For who is God except the Lord? And who is a rock except our God? God is my strength and power, and he makes my way perfect. He makes my feet like the feet of deer, and sets me on high places. He teaches my hands to make war,
I really
so
like
that my arms
from
can
verse
bend a
29
bow
on.
of bronze. You have also given me the shield of your salvation. Your gentleness has made me great. You enlarged my path under me, so my feet did not slip. I have pursued my enemies and destroyed them. Neither did I turn back again till they were destroyed. And I have destroyed them and wounded them, so that they could not rise. They have fallen under my feet. For you have armed me with strength for the battle. You have subdued under me those who rose against me. You have also given me the necks of my enemies, so that I destroyed those who hated me. They looked, but there was none to save, even to the Lord, but he did not answer them. Then I beat them as fine as the dust of the earth. I trod them like dirt in the streets, and I spread them out. You have also delivered me from the strivings of my people. You have kept me as the head of the nations. A people I have not known shall serve me. The foreigners submit to me. As soon as they hear, they obey me.
Talking about
The
the
foreigners
Cherokites and
fade
all of
away
them?
and come frightened from their hideouts. The Lord lives. Blessed be my rock. Let God be exalted, the rock of my salvation. It is
So
God
that's
who
where God,
avenges me.
that's the first time
and
we're hearing
subdues-
God being referred to as the rock. David gave him that name. That's cool.
It is God who avenges me and subdues the peoples under me. He delivers me from my enemies. You also lift me up above those who rise against me. You have delivered me from the violent man. Therefore, I will give thanks to you, O Lord, among the Gentiles, and sing praises to your name. He is the tower of salvation to his king, and shows mercy to his anointed.
Therefore, I will give thanks to you, O Lord, among the Gentiles. Meaning, like, even among the Gentiles, even if no matter where David is, with his people, with people who don't believe in God, he will still sing praises to God's name. I think that's what it probably means.
To his king, and shows mercy to his anointed. To David.
Or saying that he will thank and praise God among the Gentiles, like to get them to they'll hear him singing God's praises and maybe turn to God. Maybe that's what he's getting at with that.
To David and his descendants forevermore.
Okay. All right.
Violent.
That's it for today. We just finished chapter 22. Tomorrow we're going to jump into chapter 23. Ah, man. It's entitled David's Last Words. Are they going to document? No. Can't be. Yeah, they're not documenting David's death right there. No. David's last words as king? Is Solomon going to take the throne already? I mean, I guess we'll find out what that subheading means. David's last words. All right, we're going to check that out tomorrow. Hope you guys enjoyed today's reading. I thought it was really, really interesting. We talked about the giants, potential sizes of their weapons, the weights of them, and based off that, how tall they could have been and how big they could have been. And yeah, we checked up a decent amount of stuff today. So hope you guys found it interesting. Tomorrow we're gonna check chapter 23, and honestly, we're gonna finish 2 Samuel tomorrow, and then after that we'll jump into 1 Kings. So stay tuned for that. All right, and hope you guys have a nice day, and I'll see you guys later. All right, take care. Bye bye.